outdoor barbecue. Hopefully you're all keeping warm and you're getting a lot of good food to eat. Let's give the chef and his crew a good hand. Mark, I have a few announcements to make before we get into things tonight. I promised there were about 50 campers came to me and said, it's going to be cold out there tonight, Guy. Let's try to speed things up a little bit. Would you not let Ernie talk? And I have agreed to that. We're not calling Ernie up here tonight.
That goes for Spock, too.
All right. Tomorrow, in your lockers, or you may have found them already, we have some baseball bubblegum card order forms. They're in all your lockers. Please fill those out tomorrow and put them in the equipment room with Jack Snow. Just lay it on the shelf in there. We must have those or we can't complete your the free 50 bubblegum cards that you get. Also tomorrow, we have scheduled in the schedule a half hour for each team to take bubblegum card pictures. Now you can take that picture any way you want to. Jack will be glad to accommodate you on the half field, and you take that picture any way you want to in a pose. Also, at the same time, you will have a chance to give your video, audio comments that'll come out on the tape. So be prepared for that tomorrow. I have been asked this question about the schedules. These schedules are on the computer years ahead of time. And the schedule has been made up for the whole camp. Just because two teams are undefeated does not mean we will change the schedule. The other people have got to play in the stadium and other places. But the two undefeated teams play tomorrow afternoon on field number 1. We are roping off the area for the crowd from Vero Beach to be there. We hear there's going to be a sellout. So Spahn and Robinson's teams will play tomorrow. This is something that I kind of hate to announce, but it happens every once in a while when you get a whole bunch of people together. But 10 Hall of Fame baseball cards are missing from Pete Peroni's locker, and if anyone finds these cards or knows anything about them, please return to Pete or come to me or Craig and tell us about it, please. Now, the next thing, and I've had a lot of people talk to me today about the couple of blowouts we've had out here, when the score got 36-6 and 25-5 and things like that. We don't like those scores any better than you do. But I want to try to put the position that we get in. We're between a rock and a hard spot. We've suggested a lot of times, hey, let's let the coaches pitch because we know those games go along fast. But then on the critique that we get at the end of the camp, we have these comments, I paid some money to come down here and pitch. I didn't get to pitch. So you see the position that we're in. But if any of you, and I've talked to a lot of guys, you've got comments and you've got good suggestions, this is how we run this camp. We've taken those suggestions and tried to make it one of the best fantasy camps in baseball. So if you have some suggestions, you've got a chance to voice yourself, write it on the critique form that you're handed out at the end of the camp, and give it to us. We'll be tickled to death to look them over and see what we can do to improve the camp. This has really been the first camp in 9 that I've been here running that we've had some real bad blowouts like we've had in the last couple games. So you can see the position we're all in. We don't like those blowouts any more than you guys do. It gets discouraging out there when you're down 30 to 2 after 5 or 6 innings, and there are 24, 25 base on balls. we'd hope that you're able to get the ball over the plate better. We don't want to use the coaches, but if you fellas feel that we should, why, we'll be glad to. The games will move along much faster. So it's up to you. You've got a chance to voice yourself. I wanted you to know how I feel about it. We want to make this a good camp. Go ahead and write out the critiques and give them to me or talk to me about it. All right, for the games today, let's move along. We know it's a little nippy out here. We were going to call the first game this morning, and that was a real good ball game for a while. I'd like to call up Wilhelm San Antonio pitching coach Dennis Llewellyn to present the Potato Head Award for that ball club.
Which one is it? 2G and 2G. Guys, I'm going to make this short and sweet. The turning point in our game was when we lost the coin toss, and everything went downhill after that. We had a few guys that played well and sucked it up and played 9 innings. That's about all we can say. But Danny 2G hit the ball real well, made a couple nice plays for us, so he's our Potato Head Award winner. And I'm not going to pronounce his last name. He's Danny 2G. Tuji.
How do you pronounce it?
Pronounce it for us.
Sugioka.
Sugioka.
Sugioka is the real pronunciation.
Sugioka.
There you go. There you go. Handshake. Let's go, bro.
I do want to say one thing about that game today. I spent the whole 9 innings over there this morning watching that game, and I want to give somebody credit. He got up off the bench and he did a lot of talking over there, and he was trying to pep his ball club up, and I saw him turn one of the best double plays of the whole camp, Greg Modesti. For the Warren Spahn team. Thank you. I saw him. The Bakersfield Club, I'm going to call on the coach of that ball club, John Alvarez. Okay.
30 seconds.
I'll be quick. Francis, keep my steak warm, will you please? Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to make this short and quick again because it's so cold out here. Thank you. First of all, where's Robin? Where are you? Did you really? No, Robin Roberts. Did you really know what Ernie was talking about last night? Okay, because I still have a hell of a time trying to find out what the hell he's saying. The first night that our manager, Warren Spahn, I'm sorry, Warren Spahn, came up the first night, and he was kind of worried. He worried about our club, and only took one day to see our club on the field, and he changed his mind completely. And it's just, we had a great draft, and Bob Gibson is doing an outstanding job at third base. Very aggressive third base coach. And the pitching staff is doing outstanding. Today was one of those blowouts that guy was talking about, so I'm going to I was going to introduce the whole ball club today, but it's kind of cold out here. I don't want to rub it in. Today's game, we scored, 36 runs, and I want a few highlights real quick. Robert Plummer went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 1 double. Ralph Scheffler went 2 for 4, 1 RBI. Les Lewis went 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, 1 double. John Warburg went 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Philip Bartek went 2 for 4, 1 RBI. Bill Allen, 2 for 2, 3 RBIs. And Mike Tremonti, 2 for 3, 1 RBI. But our Potato Head Award comes to a man that did an outstanding job in the pitching mound. 6 strong innings. He also went 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. Daniel Sabuski. Come on, get yours. There you go. Whoa. Here you go, Danny. Get up here, if you can. Look at that. Look this way. There you go.
Thank you.
You're down.
All right.
Okay, for the afternoon ball games. The other blowout of the day was the game over in the stadium, and the presenter of the Potato Head Award tonight is the coach of the Lou Brock Albuquerque team, that cute little dude, Terry Collins.
It's getting old, guy. You know, you guys think that's funny. I got 6 weeks I got to put up with this shit for 6 more weeks. Oh, boy. We had a lot of fun this afternoon. Boy, I'll tell you. Lou came to me a little bit ago and he said, hey, let's get the rooming list, find out where these guys are staying, what rooms they're in, make sure they're the same guys we had on Thursday. Today's game, 31-1. We had one guy that, well, we had 2 guys, really, that were big today. Frank Jacobson had a great game. Got 3 hits, drove in our big run for us, and broke the shutout up. But the guy that we're going to give the Potato Head Award to tonight came in. Yesterday, he had never been on the mound before. He decided, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. And he started out by throwing a little batting practice and said, hey, I can throw it over. I guess I'll pitch. And he pitched 5 good innings for us. John Riswick. Or Bill Riswick. I don't know why it's John on here. Where's Bill at? It's Bill. Maybe John won one too. Is there a John Riswick here today?
That's my brother.
Did you already get one? Is this yours?
I hope not.
They put the wrong name. We'll get that to us.
Okay.
Oh, he's more famous anyway.
Take the next
Thank you very much.
Here, take this too.
Okay.
We'll get
All
that
right.
changed.
For the winning Robinson Sarasota Club, before I introduce him, I would like first of all to introduce his lovely wife as the better half of the entire family. She and her lovely daughter, Jackie Shoemaker. And now, John Shoemaker.
Thanks a lot, Guy, for the introduction. I've had the pleasure of the last 3 days of working with 2 great Hall of Famers, Frank Robinson and Catfish Hunter. Fortunately, we're 3 wins and no losses. We've got a chance to win the title down here, and we're working with 14 outstanding adult campers. Today we had Walt Benson and Ray Hollowell combined for an 8-hit pitching performance and only gave up 1 run, and that was on a play that was very disputed at home plate. Also, our shortstop, Roger Humpton, had 2 hits, including a triple in the inside the park home run. Tonight's Potato Head winner for the Sarasota Ball Club is a ball player who can do a lot of things for a club. He's got speed, a good arm, he can put the ball in play. He's a team leader, Herman Russomano. There you go. Herman had 2 hits in today's game, and he drove in 3 runs, and he made 3 outstanding catches and a great throw in center field, and I think we should have had a shutout. That umpire blew that play at the plate.
Way to go.
No flash, Jack. Okay, way to go, Herm.
Thank you.
Whoops.
Herman.
Way to go, Herm.
For the final game of the day, and this fellas, I was watching this afternoon, and at one time, the Great Falls Club, under the leadership of Robin Roberts, was down. I mean, down bad, 8-1, 8-0, something like that. And the game ended up 12-11 with a tying run on third base. I'd like to call up, and I will interpret for him if he needs any interpreting, our fine infield instructor, Chico Fernandez.
Thank you, Guy. First of all, I'm very happy to be here once again. This is the first time I've been in this camp. I was in twice in the one in November. That's where we come from, Arizona. But I want you to know that I'm very proud to be here and happy once again because all you gentlemen are here as a player, but all the Hall of Famers are here. Some of them I had the opportunity. One of them, I played with them in the big leagues when I had a cup of coffee in the big leagues, in the American League. Mr. Frank Robinson was myself as a player that I learned a lot from him. He was a leader in our ball club, and he's the type of guy that gave us a lot of drive and determination and able to be aggressive in the sports. Okay, I don't want to build him up. It's a fact. That's the reason why he was a Hall of Famer. Besides that, I was able to face guys like Jim Hunter, Catfish Hunter, and I was able to play against the Minnesota Twins, which right now he's our coach, the killer, Mr. Killebrew. So, our ball club concerned, our manager, the skipper, Robert, was outstanding. For me, it was very enjoyable as a coach. And I have to say this about our ball club. We struggled the first ball game that we played. Of course, we didn't know each other. But after that, we were able to play, work out 2-3 days in a row. We weren't able to win a game. But I say one thing. We've been competitive, and that's what counts. And that's exactly what counts. That's what we're here for. We're willing to help you as much as possible. So, right now, I have to say this. Mr. Robert, our skipper, he's got a very good choice. He was the guy during the draft that was able to get a guy that he found out that he could pitch and he could hit. Well, Dennis McCroskey has been able to do everything. He was able to make contact. Not only that, yesterday he pitched about maybe 3-4 innings. Today he pitched 9 innings. And we went all the way. In the 7th inning, we were losing 9-1. We were able to bounce back and tie it. After that, they get ahead of us, but we lost 12-1. But no matter what, he did an outstanding job. He's the man that we feel, the staff and myself, that he's the man that deserves it today. The Potato Head Award. Dennis.
Get up there, Dennis. Get up there.
Thanks, Chico.
That's right. Thanks, Zach. Okay. What Chico said was that Frank Robinson was one hell of a ball player. Good, Chico, you're getting better. And the final award, the final Potato Head Award, goes to the Billy Williams Vero Beach Club. And Leo Posada would be the man that would normally present this award, but Leo had to go home in an emergency tonight. He'll be back tomorrow morning. And I'm going to call on Billy Williams to present the award.
There it is. Thank you very much, Guy. After losing 2 games and winning the 3rd one, nobody will give this award but me. I'm proud of my Vero Beach Ball Club because through all the hardship they played very well the last couple of days. A good ball club. We talked the other day, and after losing 2 tough ball games, I think a couple of bad calls was made there, and I think if we could have got that one call, we could have easily be 3-0 now, tied for first place. But this individual that I think deserving of this Potato Head Award, we got in a ball game yesterday. We were leading in the 9th inning by 2 runs, and he came in the baseball game. I called him in from center field, and he could have told me that he hadn't been on the mound for about 5 years. But he took the ball and went out and proceeded to pitch. And I think he threw about 12 or 13 balls. He walked a couple of hitters, and we lost the ball game.
And we came in the clubhouse, and of course he had his head down. And I said, the only way that I know that you could get over this thing, because he didn't sleep last night. I know he didn't. I saw him in the clubhouse, his eyes was red. He worried about that whole ball game all last night. So I said, the only way that we could make you feel good is put you right back in the fire. So with the help of Don Drysdale took him in the bullpen, and he worked with him for about a half an hour, and he began to throw strikes. He began to have the good form, like a Sandy Koufax. And he pitched 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 run. And because he took the ball, and because he had the heart to go out there and pitch real sound, I think no one deserving of this award but Edward Oathshaver for pitching a great ball game today, pulling us out of a 2-0 deficit, 0-2 deficit.
Come on up here, Ed. Get your picture.
This speech?
Oh, wonderful.
Great.
Thank you.
There you go, Bill Beach.
Thank you, men. Now, I would like to suggest that tomorrow night when we have our after dinner, all of our pitchers, our Hall of Fame pitching coaches will be on a panel, and we're going to discuss pitching. So I would suggest that you fellas, if you've got any questions to ask them, think about them tonight, write them down, bring them with you to dinner tomorrow night, and we'll ask those Hall of Famers those questions. There will be 3 games tomorrow. On Monday, there will be 3 games and the big game in the afternoon. Tonight, our discussion is called Down Memory Lane. And last year, when we had this for the first time, I told the fellows that I'm going to call them to come up here and tell some stories, and they all said, "Oh no, I don't want to. I can't tell any stories up there." It was one of the longest nights we ever had, because once they got started, they had a lot of them. The guy I'm going to call on first, and we're going to call on just a few tonight, is Robin Roberts. And Robbie, you win tomorrow, Robbie. You win tomorrow, you will be 1-3. That's good. Last year you were 5-0, and you know it comes around.
I hope it does.
Thanks, Guy. I was so happy to be with you tonight, and I remember when we were 5-0 last year, how humble we were as a team. And I want Gibson and Sponny to remember that. Robbie, your club can't beat Sponny's. You're not. They're going to win it. They got the best team. Remember when you were with Baltimore? You guys had the best team and you won. Last year I had the best team. This year I have a same number of players as the other guys. We fought back today. Where's Dennis? Do you get that potato head, Dennis? I pitched you just to let the other guys see I'm trading you next year. Hey, what am I doing here? Hey, where's Guy?
Right here.
How are you, Guy?
Good.
Taylorville, Illinois. I'll never forget it, Guy.
Oh, I've heard about it.
No, really, I must tell you, some of the nicest things that happened to me in baseball, besides getting old with Mary and being able to walk, which ain't bad, I'll tell you, is being at things like this, and I see all these other guys. I see all these guys that are outstanding baseball players that I played against, and I think about the nicest thing that happened to me as a player was only one time was I ever in a World Series with the Phillies, 1950. I remember the camaraderie and the good feeling about a team that won a pennant, played 154 games in those years, and what a great feeling it was to be involved with a group that was able to hang together all year and win a pennant. The other thing that I remember was appearing in the All-Star games and being involved with the great players like Sponny, Eddie Matthews, Musial, Henry Aaron, Mays, the rest of them. And I was involved with 6 of those. I pitched in 5 of them. And I remember the great satisfaction I had being involved with those guys. And I often think when we come to these ultimate camps like we're here tonight, and I watch the group that we have playing today, and they're busting their butts trying to win a baseball game. And I often think that no matter what you do in life, if you play something or you do something that you really enjoy, like I was able to do in athletics, I consider myself very fortunate. I'm very happy to be with you. I will look forward to playing again tomorrow. And Joey Martinez, get your rest because you're going 9 innings. I'm telling you that ahead of time. But we are very happy. Mary and I enjoy being with you. We think you guys are crazy for wearing your bodies out like this, but we're happy to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
Somebody had suggested early in the evening that it might be better if we had the wives tell the stories, some stories about the fellas. And then my wife told me one, and I said, no, I don't think we better do that. It might be too embarrassing. The next guy I'm calling up is the new man of the group, Catfish Hunter.
Well, it's great for me to be here. I think I've gained 10 pounds since I've been here eating all this good food. And cold as it is tonight, you know, it's almost a joke to be out here so cold, especially to be in Florida. But I had the experience playing with 2 great teams, the Oakland A's, the guys out there with the long hair and the mustache gang, bunch of crazy guys. We went out at night, off the ball field. We did what we wanted to. On the field, we did what we wanted to. We got out there and played baseball and win. And then we had Charlie Finley, the owner of the Oakland A's. He was probably one of the best managers in baseball up to 1972. But after 1972, after we won the World Series, he was probably the worst. He went ahead and got players for us to win, but he didn't want to do anything for the players at all to make them happy. Our first ring that we got, World Series ring, had a nice carat diamond in it. The next one was worth $150. The third one was worth $135. So some of these guys, we tried to tell him, some of these guys never been in the World Series, and not the same 25 guys doing it. He said, I know I made a mistake, but I'm not going to correct it. And that's the way Mr. Finley was. When he did something, he stuck to it, even though we called him names. And then I thought I'd seen everything when I had played with Oakland. Then I went to New York, and I hadn't seen nothing. We had a real crazy owner then, Mr. George Steinbrenner. Can't say too much about him because he's got to pay him to 1994, so he was still good for baseball. He still gives the big money to all the players. He was the one that really started it. But he's got some crazy ideas. If he's paying your salary, he thinks you should bow down to him, get on your knees, and say, yes, sir, Mr. Finley, amen, Mr. Finley, everything, Mr. Finley. I mean, Mr. Steinbrenner. But I don't agree with that. And one day we had our differences, and I had to tell him. And after that, he says, you know, me and you can talk face to face and get our differences out. And that's what we did. But being in New York, they had a coach there named Yogi Berra. Yogi was the greatest guy I've ever seen. But I used to get up early, and Yogi would get up early, we'd be eating. One day we were in Detroit eating, and it was Old Timers game there. We were sitting there eating, and Yogi says, hey, Cat. I said, yeah, Yogi, what do you want? He says, that's the dead one or the live one coming in there. I said, what do you mean, Yogi? He says, that's the dead one or the live one coming in there. I said, Yogi, what do you mean? He said, you know, there was two brothers that used to play on this old-timer team, and said, one of them's dead. He said, I want to know if that's the dead one or the live one. But Yogi, everybody said Yogi was kind of slow thinking, but Yogi, to me, is not. He's got one of the greatest minds you've ever seen. He tries to fill you out. He's like Ernie Banks. He talks and nobody understands what he's saying. But Yogi's the only one who understands himself. But I had a little saying in my locker. It was written in there in Kansas City. I really don't know who had written it up there. And it says, winning isn't everything, but wanting to is. Winning isn't everything, but wanting to is. And I read that and left it up in my locker, and I kept reading it, you know, and I really, after a while, I guess I knew what it meant. If you wanted to win bad enough out there on the baseball field, you were going to give that 100% and do what you could to win. No matter if you're helping your first baseman, second baseman, or whatever, to win. You're doing it for the team. And the only way to do it is give that 100%. And that's what you guys are doing out here, giving that 100%. There's only one person that knows if they gave the 100% or not, and that's the person that's doing it. A lot of people say 110, 115. When I hear that, it kind of ticks me off because there's not a such thing as 110, 115%. The only thing you do is give that 100%. And that's what I try to tell the youngsters or whatever when I talk to them. If you're going to school and you're going to try to get out of school, try to do something in your life, you're going to have to bear down and give that 100%. No matter if you want to be a lawyer, doctor, teacher, especially a baseball player. Baseball players have got to help each other. You can take a bunch of good players, put them together, but if they don't play together, you don't have a winner. And to me, this camp is a winner. Thank you.
A lot of good food for thought to take back to your youngsters, the group that you go back to the Little Leagues, and some of the other people that you work with. All right, the next man, Lou Brock.
Well, it's a long walk. Thank you, guys. That's certainly a long walk from over there near that hot fire. In this particular camp, the last 2 games, we have had 29 runs scored against us, and today 31 runs scored against us. And Ernie Banks were talking last night about win, sin. I got to tell you, Ernie, when you lose, you sin. Frank Robinson, if I catch you drowning, I'm going to pour water on you. Bob Gibson, Warren Spahn, where are you? If I catch you in the desert, I'm going to feed you peanuts. Guy, you asked us to walk up here and talk a little bit about down memory lane. I, too, spent a number of years in the big leagues, about 19, and got a chance to play against some of the greats. And tonight, when you assemble all these athletes together, the campers, it's always symbolic of success. And success is really a difficult term to define. And a lot of people have tried to define success. And as I said, it's difficult to define. However, the best quote I ever heard about success goes like this: that success is a man, to be successful, I should say, is a man who makes more money than his wife can spend. A successful woman is one who finds such a man. That is why we put it together, everything we do. But I do have one story when you talk about memory lane, down memory lane. You played with a lot of the great ball players. Catfish Hunter named a few of them. And they asked, who were some of these successful players? I named Bob Gibson, Herman Killebrew, DiMaggio, Stan Musial, Mays, just to name a few. And there was one other player who wanted to be successful, but he didn't have what it takes to be successful. He now has a big name in sports, and you know him as Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker once stated, and I quote, "There is nothing I wouldn't do for baseball." End quote. The man played 12 years and did nothing. But Euchre is now having the greatest years of his baseball career. He hit in 300 by having his own TV show, right down front in the old front row. And he has it all those TV commercials. And there's a lot of stories about Bob Euchre. However, the greatest story about Euchre occurred when the Milwaukee Braves decided they would send a scout over to the Euchre's home to sign Bob Euchre to a big league contract. The scout arrived at the Euchre's house, gathered the family around the kitchen table, and announced that I have been sent here by the Braves to sign your son, Bob Euchre, for $4,000. With that, Bob Euchre's father looked the scout straight in the eye and said, "This family doesn't have that much money." That is, of course, what I remember by playing with some of the greats. Guy, I'd like to thank the Dodgers and the Ultimate Camp for this opportunity to come and again rub shoulders with some of these guys who consider themselves the greats of the game, and some of them are the greats of the game. And there's one other guy who thinks that he wears number 20, and his uniform has been retired, and he is now in the Hall of Fame. But his number is really not 20, it's 2.0. By tomorrow, Barbara, you won't know him. And I'm talking about Frank Robinson. I hate to lose, Ernie. And of course, that is evidence. When I left Chicago, went to St. Louis, and Chicago, as you well know, we all thought of ourselves being home run hitters. A single in Chicago was a setup shot for home runs, and no chance of were to be taken. When I got to St. Louis, the game was viewed as a battleground of soldiers. Baseball was considered that battleground, and we fought the opposition face to face, eye to eye. Blood and sweat, Ernie, was our partners of performance, and we took a back seat to no one. In fact, my first year down there, I think in St. Louis, the Phillies had a 10-game lead, and then they had a 6.5 games lead with 12 games to go, and we wound up winning by 1 game, all because the Cincinnati Reds could not put them away. After about 12, 14 years in St. Louis and 3 pennants and 2 world championships, yeah, all right. And we were, not we, but I was lucky enough, Frank, to hit not only some high choppers, but I hit one of the longest home runs in the history of baseball. Right out of the Polo Grounds in New York. And so, Frank, tonight there is a book in your room called Those Who Hit Long Home Runs in the Polo Grounds in New York. Read it tomorrow, and I will quiz you on it. Thank you.
Okay, Frank, it's your chance to retaliate.
You didn't know I was going to be talking, did you, Lou? I'm hitting 4th tonight, and I'm driving you in just like always. I'd like to congratulate Warren Spahn on winning the championship. Since Robbie's already given it to you. But we will show up. You got a mouse in your pocket, Gibson?
We're glad you're going to show up.
I know you are. I don't have a lot of stories. I don't like to hang on to old times. I like to think about the present. But I played with some good ball players, played with some good ball teams. But I'd like to think about this. My little thing was, when I became a manager, I always wanted to have smart ball club and smart players that could go out and execute the plays, do the little things to win ball games. The type of ball club that I have here in camp, just go out and execute. Unbelievable. Make all the little plays. That's just 1 of 14. I don't know whether the other 13 must be in the bar. But That's exactly right. And I played in Cleveland. I managed in Cleveland. I didn't have that kind of club. But I did have that kind of club down in Puerto Rico when I managed down there. And we won a championship, and we set a standard down there that still stands. We won 49 games out of 69 games, and we had a 15-game winning streak within that time. And I had a catcher down there that was named Elrod Hendricks. Elrod knew no one by their names. He knew everyone by the number. Number 20, number 10, number 5, and whatever. And we're playing one day in San Juan. We were the home team. And the other team was rallying. A runner came around third base, slid in the home plate. The umpire called him safe. But we happened to notice that he didn't tag home plate. The runner got up and dusted himself off, ran to the dugout, sitting in the dugout, and was hollering, Elrod, Elrod. The guy didn't tag home plate. So Elrod looks into their dugout. They didn't have any numbers on the front of their uniform. So he went over to their dugout, and he started looking at each guy's number on the back. And after he looked at a few players, the player down at the end of the dugout realized what he was doing. So he jumped up and started running towards home plate. So Elrod threw the ball to the pitcher at home plate. The pitcher threw it back to Elrod, and they had a rundown between home plate and the dugout. So those are the type of players I like to have on my ball club. Good, smart, exciting players and execute the fundamentals. This is my third camp also, and it's a real pleasure to be here, Guy. I look forward to it, and I hope I'll be invited back next year. If I'm not, I can understand. But I'll tell you what, I'll put the hoodoo on the Dodgers. My wife also enjoys this. This is the only vacation she really gets. And she enjoys coming down there. Every year she asks me, are we going back? Are we going back? I say, I think we are. And when I get the letter inviting me back, I relax and say, we are. And it's a pleasure. I enjoyed every one of you guys, being here with you, rubbing elbows, just talking, exchanging stories with you. And hope to see a lot of you back here again next year. Thank you.
Okay, the great knuckleballer, Hoyt Wilhelm. Hoyt had one story that he wanted to tell, and he told it to me, and I said, maybe you better not tell that one tonight, Hoyt. Save that one for the locker room.
Oh, Lordy. Thank you, Guy. First of all, I'd like to say this is my third camp over here in Dodgertown, and I have really enjoyed it. I don't exactly enjoy the way the games are going, but, you know, that's part of it. You win some, lose some. And I heard... Concerning our game today, yeah, I told the guys it's only one loss, whether you lose 1-0 or 36-7. We got it all out of our system today, man, so we're ready tomorrow. And I think I told some of them, I don't know if they all heard or not, I said, hell, I've seen it go for weeks like this and then get worse. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to play a few years in the big leagues with nothing. I only had one pitch, and the hitters knew what I was throwing every pitch. So to play 20 years in the big leagues and they knowing what you're throwing every pitch, I think that's a pretty good feat. And I would like to tell a little story that happened in the minor leagues with me. I was playing down in North Carolina, that's where I came from, and back then they had minor league clubs in every town down south there. You went from D-ball to AAA. Yeah, A, B, C, D. I don't think you had an E league. But anyway, I was playing a D league, and it was an independent ball club. We had no affiliation with the major league club, so what they did was sell a player every now and then off of that club to a higher class club. And we had a pitcher down there that was doing pretty good. Right-hand pitcher, and the manager called him in there one day, and I happened to be sitting there, and he says, I think the guy's name was John Sanders or something like that. He says, John, I got good news for you. Says we've sold you to the 3I League. You know, that's the old Indiana, Illinois, Iowa league up there. He says, we've sold you the 3-eye league. And this old boy looked at him and he says, I'll be damned if that's so. He says, what you mean? He says, that's a B league. He says, hell, I have enough trouble down here where they've only got 2 eyes. I'll tell one more little story, a quick one. When I went to the big league, and some of you guys don't know it, I hit a home run my first at bat. And it was 1952, and we were in a battle with the Dodgers all year that year for the pennant. And it was getting late in the season. We were probably 2 or 3 games out, and I get in the game about the 7th inning, 6th inning, and tie game, and I held him. You know, and usually when a relief pitcher goes in, he pitches till his turn at bat, and that's it. They send in a pinch hitter. But in this particular game, we're playing in the Polo Grounds, and we're coming to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning with tie score, and I'd already pitched 3 innings, and I'm the leadoff hitter. So I figured, well, I'm gone now. But he didn't. Leo let me hit. So I'm up there hitting, and the count rocked along there, 2-2. Finally got to 3-2, and I looked down to Herman Franks, and he put the take on. I backed out, took my hat off. You know, that's to tell him you haven't got to sign. He puts the tape back on. So I meet him about halfway to third base. I said, do you know what the count is? I said, hell, it's 3-2, and I might take this guy out of here. You know, I'd hit a home run. I had hit a home run my first at bat, and, you know, I might hit one here to win. He says, well, DeRocher's got the take on. So I ducked down up there and got a base on balls. Somebody bunted me over, and somebody hit a double or triple and scored me. Next day, a New York paper's sports headline says, Wilhelm's keen eyes start giant winning rally in the night. Well, that's about it for me, John. I've enjoyed this, and I'd certainly hope to be invited back again next year. My wife's here for the first time, and she certainly enjoyed it. And again, I'd like to say thank you very much.
How you fellas getting along over the fire? Are you still all right? Everything okay yet? Billy Williams.
Thank you very much, Guy. I played with the Chicago Cubs, and as you know, we didn't win a pennant. We wasn't in the World Series, if you didn't know. In 1974, I got traded to the Oakland A's, and I proceeded to play with the Oakland A's in 1975 and 76. And I did have a chance that particular year because the Oakland A's had won 3 World Series in a row. And I don't know who to get mad at. Catfish Hunter for leaving the Oakland A's, or Charlie Finley not paying him that money he owed him. But in my time, I played, as I mentioned, I played with the Chicago Cubs, and I went up to the big league in 1961, and I think, I guess the most important thing and the most rejoicing thing, first of all, to put on a major league uniform. Because a lot of these players here, excepting Luke Brock, Catfish Hunter, and several other players here, these particular fellas I used to read about, used to watch them on television. And becoming a major league ball player, I think when I played professional ball, I just wanted to get a chance to play baseball because I enjoyed the game. And when I first came to the big league in 1961, I was fortunate enough to win the 1961 Rookie of the Year. And by luck and hard work, I got a chance to play in 6 All-Star games. And by luck and hard work, I got a chance to wear the Hall of Fame ring. And I tell you, it's just been great the last couple of days. It was a joy last year when I received the call from Jack Lang, who gives out the award for the individual being inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I think the most joyous thing is coming down here. This is my first time at this Dodger camp with these Hall of Famers. I know Ernie and I had a lot of fun in Chicago when I played together with him. But I think the joy down here is just being with the Hall of Famers, not in competition, but just talking about old times and just enjoying the past times that we played against each other, that we enjoyed against each other. And I think when we come down here, it's not competition. It's just being down here with the Hall of Famers and watching you fellas play. I know there has been several players out here. One guy came up to me today, Buswick, which is my designated hitter, and we had to have a couple of runners to run for him. When he hit the ball, his first and most thought was to go to first base, and he took off running to first base. And he asked me, why do I do that all the time? I said, because all these particular fellas are down here, they're in the Hall of Fame, and they learn to give that little extra step because they wanted to be good ball players, they want to be outstanding baseball players in the major league. And maybe, you know, by doing this, by giving a quick step to first base, that's what they did their whole life, because they wanted to give that extra step. And that's why they are down here. That's why they're Hall of Famers. Playing with these guys throughout the years, I know they gave that little extra mile. They were competitive ball players. And it's so good to be down here being in their midst, because all through the years they wouldn't talk to you, they wouldn't even speak to you. But now we get a chance to share some of the memories that we walked throughout those years in the big league. It's just a thrill to be down, and I don't have too many stories down here except that it was a joy, as I say, to play Major League Baseball. And the most important thing is to play with a guy like Ernie Banks. There were several players said last night that they couldn't understand what he's saying. And I went through that whole damn thing for about 12 years. So sooner or later, you'll find out what he's saying, and he's talking the right thing. Thank you very much.
As I said, we're going to hear all the pitchers tomorrow night. Any of you fellas got any questions of any specific player? If not, that's it. Good night.